and welcome once more. Today I'm going to follow up on the request of many of you was to go over the kind of gear that I take when I go on some of my trips. So today I'm going to share with you what I'm planning to take on my upcoming backpacking trip that I'm going on with my family in about 4 or 5 days. The time is just creeping up. The kind of gear that I take is going to vary on where it is that I'm going and the time of year. I'm not really that focused on the exact make of a lot of the things that I take. It's more is about their function. I'm just going to go over some categories with you that I think would be common for all of us, and then I'll show you what I'm taking on this particular trip. The first thing is the backpack itself. I'm a small woman, just over 5 feet, and I'm not very heavy, so I've had to change my backpack from the one that I used when I was younger to find a more suitable backpack for me at this point in my life. So I've chosen to go with a smaller backpack. Therefore, the amount of things that I'm going to take is limiting, which is good. Weight will be less. So the backpack that I have chosen is a Gregory pack, a specially designed one for women, and it's called a Fasat. I did a video on that, so if you're interested in, look on my homepage where there are some playlists, and it'll be under the gear reviews. The next category is going to be shelter. So I'll show you what I'm taking on this trip. The tent that I have chosen is a Durston X-Mid 1, which I used in the fall 2 or 3 times, and I really like it. It's a very lightweight, ultralight tent, and what I have done now is I've added a small ground sheet, and I have added one of their lightweight poles. This tent is a trekking pole tent, so even though I will be using these while trekking, they are integral for holding the tent up. As this time I am going to have my tent up for 2 nights, I wanted to be sure that I had one trekking pole so that I could go on a day hike. So therefore I am taking this as an extra, which I don't need if I'm going to be moving every day. I've also brought along some tent pegs and some cordage. Some of the sites will have tent platforms and some will be on the bare ground, and we don't know which we're going to get. So I have to be prepared to use the cordage if we're on a pad and a few pegs if we're on the ground. In this waterproof bag, I have a down sleeping bag, which is rated to -10, and I have a Nemo Tensor insulated pad. This is really all you need. It's I'm a great fan of down, but it definitely has to be kept dry, and so I always make sure that my down sleeping bag is in a waterproof bag. The next area is clothing. The forecast is for a very hot day, the day that we're going to climb up this mountain, which doesn't make me happy, but nonetheless, I have been wearing trail runners over the last several months every time I've gone hiking, and I very much like them. I always had heavy boots, but I find these are so much lighter on my feet. If they get wet, they dry out reasonably fast, and they are actually an Ultra Lone Peak trail runner, but there's many other companies that make similar items. I usually wear wool socks with them, whether it's warm or cold out. If these get wet, my feet have a much better chance of staying warm if I've got wool socks. Many people have asked me about my pants, which I wear all the time. And I have one pair of Fjällräven trekking pants. They have amazing number of pockets. They have good flexibility, stretch, good zippered secure pockets, and on the side they have an air vent. They also have a hook at the ankle where you can hook the front onto your running shoes or your boots, which kind of help to act as a bit of a gaiter. Keeps your pants down, covers the laces, gives some protection. They also tend to dry quite fast. I've been very happy with them. And probably this day I will be wearing a short sleeve, quick dry shirt with sunscreen on my arms and a hat. So that's what I'm planning to wear based on the present forecast. So what extra clothes am I planning to pack? Not very much, actually. We are going for 2 nights, but I will be using the layered method for sure. I have an extra pair of socks and underwear, a long-sleeved merino wool hoodie, which is really, really comfortable and warm, my down vest, which will also assist as my pillow in the night, 1 pair of quick dry pants as an extra set of pants, and my rain jacket. I'm also taking along this pair of neoprene booties or socks because I understand we may have to do some stream crossings. For sleeping, I will probably just wear my extra pants and maybe my hoodie. I'm not worried about fashion. I'm worried about utility and weight. The other thing that I'll take along, because we're going up into the mountains, is a head bug net. So that is all the clothing that I will be taking for this trip. As far as my cook kit goes, I've done a video on that quite recently on various ways of doing a cook kit. And this is what I'm taking for this trip. I've really pared it down because I'm going to be eating dehydrated food only, plus snacks and cereal. So I don't even need a bowl, and I have a small knife on my multi-tool, which will be sufficient. So I've got my mug, my stove, and my pot, a lighter, and my windscreen, my sport, and that's about it. I also have a small amount of camp soap, which can double as soap for me if I need it. So that's the extent of my cook kit for this trip. Along with food, we can talk about water. I have a water filter, but speaking with my family, we decided that this time my water filter is slow to use for a group of 5 people. So we opted to use Aquatab water purification tablets on this trip. I've used them before, and these particular ones don't seem to have any taste to them, at least nothing that I could really detect. I'll be taking 1 liter of water in my pack, and then on the front of my pack or in my waist pack, I'll be taking a 400 to 500 ml bottle for easy access. The next area I want to talk about is health and safety, and I put them together. This is my heavy-duty whistle, which I will keep in my pocket. I also will carry my satellite texting device, my Zoleo. That will also be in my pocket. I will have my bear banger with a couple of cartridges, probably in the front pocket of my waist belt. And the bear spray will either be in here or on a holder on my shoulder strap. I'll also take with me a battery, a power pack. That is for making sure that my phone and my Zoleo are charged up, as well as my camera equipment. I will carry an emergency blanket and an emergency poncho also in this little waist pack. I have a headlamp, and that also can be charged off of the power pack if I need to. I have a lighter for my cook stove, but I also will be carrying a fire steel and a small multi-tool, which has a tool which I can use for making a spark. As far as health goes, because we're going on a group trip, my daughter-in-law and son are bringing a bigger first aid kit. But what I have done for myself is brought some medication, bug spray, some wipes, and some electrolyte powder, and some Band-Aids. These I'll just keep in the top of my pack, because then they'll be handy for me if I just want to quickly access something. The other thing is a small toiletries bag, just a face cream, toothbrush, toothpaste, etc. And of course, the old toilet paper. The only extra things that I'm going to take, I really want to be able to take my chair. My Helinox chair. It only weighs a pound and an ounce or 2, but I'm going to do a total weight with this backpack, including food and water. 1 liter of water weighs about 2 pounds, and it's probably way more important than my chair, but If I can manage it, I'm going to sneak that chair in because it just makes a world of difference to me while I'm at camp. So how do I get all this stuff into my backpack? Well, that's a good question. So some similarities on how people generally pack a backpack. But again, it's an individual choice, and you figure out what works for your backpack and what works for you. I think it's really important, though, to try and keep it balanced well so that you don't have too much weight on one side or the other. You don't want anything to throw you off. But I'll show you basically how I go about it. The first thing that I put in is my sleeping bag. I think a lot of people do that. Down to the bottom and across the base. Next, I will put in my tent, and that is going to go a bit forward, and behind that is going to go my cook kit. I have some room down the sides for things like the poles, and on the other side I'll put in my mattress, and then I'll put in my clothing. At the top there's still a lot of room. Once I get my food in, I will determine whether I can take my chair or not. On the outside I put in my rain jacket, and I will also put in my neoprene socks. On the top compartment will go things like my first aid kit, the toilet paper, and my toiletries. I will have this in my pocket, and I will have these in my pockets. In here, I will carry the poncho, the little blanket, my bear banger, and the cartridges. On the front of my shoulder strap on one side, I will have my bear spray, and on the other, I will have my GoPro. There are also some pockets on the hip belt, but this is a good place to carry some snacks. The total weight as it sits right now is just over 16 pounds. So by the time I add 2+ pounds of water, approximately 4 pounds of food, I'm now at 22 pounds, and it's kind of looking unlikely about my chair. You never know. Maybe I'll have a strong grandson who wants to bring it for me. But I'll see. I like to keep my pack between 20 and 22 pounds maximum. I used to carry a lot more, but that was then, and this is now. I will look forward to sharing with you how that trip goes after I get back and I have some time to put out another video. I really want to thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you again before long. Bye for now.